This episode of Nicknames Movies is brought to you by Uncle Joe's Nipple Cream Enhancer. If you need nipples enhanced, get this nipple cream Are we out of sponsors? This is the last sponsor? Zach is simply nodding. You're just now a thumbs up. Great. Uncle Joe's Nipple Cream Enhancer.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Nicknames Movies, Episode 8 for the week of June 8th. Each and every week, we bring you all the cinema love and keep you informed about what's going on in Hollywood. I'm your host, Nick, naming movies, and along with me is my co-host, Zach. How's it going?
I'm doing well, Nick. Thank you for asking.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. Are we going to do this every week?
No. Just...
Okay, next week we'll be rude to each other.
Okay, good. We'll do a quick test. Fuck you, Zach.
Oh, fuck you, Nick.
Oh, go to hell.
Go to hell. I'm just copying you.
But anyway, this is Nicknames Movies, the podcast where we talk about what we've been watching and give you our thoughts. Want to be a part of the cast? You can head on over to patreon.com/nicknamesmovies, where you can donate as low as $1 and get the episodes a day early. If you don't want to donate, no big deal. Every episode will be live every Sunday on YouTube or your podcast service of choice. You can also head over to tpublic.com/user/nicknamesmovies to find our merch and help represent your favorite new podcast. But for now, let's dive into the previews. Zach, what have you been watching?
I actually haven't been watching a whole lot this week. I've instead been using most of my life wasting away in front of Persona 4 Golden.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
On which system?
Well, I have the Vita TV, so I play it in my living room.
All right.
But what I did watch was I rewatched some things I had obviously seen before. Like I rewatched Ghostbusters. Actually, the original.
Okay.
Right before I came over. And then also throughout the week, I've been rewatching Harmon Quest.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah.
Which
is, if you don't know, it is made from it's from Dan Harmon, who's a creator of, or part creator of Rick and Morty.
Yes, and Community.
And they animate a live D&D session. And it's great. I love it. It's very
funny. They get
funny.
pretty wacky with it, too.
They do, yeah. And they play a little fast and loose with some of the rules in there, but it's
celebrity guests every week. Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's at least one celebrity guest every week. I think there's one or two episodes throughout the run of the first two seasons where they have two guests with one. I think they have one where there's a returning guest and then a new one.
Yeah.
But I actually recently just saw that they were finished with writing the last episode for season 3. After season 2, it was kind of up in the air whether or not there was going to be a season 3 until they got bought by Verve.
Yeah. The streaming.
Yeah, because originally they were on CISO, and CISO was
just
like
garbage.
Yeah. And they dropped them, even though I'm pretty sure that was like one of maybe 2 reasons to subscribe to CISO.
Yeah, that and the Tig Notaro show or whatever.
But then Verve picked them up and they gave them a third season. So I've been going back through the previous 2,
kind of refreshing your mind.
And it's still great. It's still really funny.
Is season 3 coming out soon?
I wouldn't think so. Probably by the end of the year, if not a little afterwards.
Okay.
Because it's 10 episodes. And I don't know if they're doing a live format like they did with the original, because I don't know how much of that is tied up with CISO rights and whatever.
Yeah, and
there's like some weirdness.
Recording his podcast and doing all that stuff.
Yeah. So they have to have the sessions too, obviously. So
that's kind of half the fun though, is making it seem like the animated part is an afterthought.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. Live. Actually, they do the recording first,
Right.
and then they go back through it, and they kind of edit some stuff out here and there, and then they
The unfunny stuff.
Yeah. And then they animate it.
Yeah.
And they just finished this writing the last episode. I think it was like the beginning of May.
Okay, so it's
Maybe
gonna be
middle
a
of
while
May.
before it comes out.
Yeah. Probably half a year to a year, I would think.
Gotcha.
But
So that's what
That's
you've been...
that's what I've been watching. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you? What have you been watching?
I mentioned it before the show, but I've been trying to juggle a whole bunch of shows. I still haven't finished Chernobyl. It's a very dark and dreary...
Oh yeah, you got to be in a right mindset
People
for
die.
it.
Yeah, you gotta be like,
What?
I need to
People
be depressed
die
tonight.
in Chernobyl?
Yes, very slowly.
Well,
not happy.
yeah, it's over the course of a while.
Yeah. So I haven't finished that, unfortunately. So I've been kind of balancing it with other shows. I've been watching Twilight Zone and trying to catch up with that.
How is that?
There's hit and miss episodes.
This is the new Twilight Zone on CBS All Access, right?
Yes, with, Jordan
Jordan Peele.
Peele.
Yeah.
There are good episodes and there are bad episodes. I would say that overall the season, the production quality it's high. It's up there. CBS All Access is giving every show that they have as much money as possible, like Star Trek Discovery.
Right.
But some of the acting's fine, but some of the stories are kind of like, I feel like they took old scripts that got written out from the original Twilight Zone.
Okay.
But I mean, they're still fun. You've got like high profile actors in there, like oh wow,
Oh
wow.
They're really high profile.
It's not distracting though. The characters.
Clearly not, since you can't
Since I
remember
can't
who they are.
Well, it's also, I was going to mention another show that's been kind of my I weave in and out. I have shows that are like hour-long shows that I sit down and I get engaged in, and there are like 30-minute shows
that
that
you just pop on real quick.
on if I have 30 minutes right before work or right after, or right before bed. And the 30-minute show is Code Geass. Lelouch
anime.
Rebellion, which is an anime show back in 2005, 2006.
It went on for a while, though. There was a couple seasons, right?
It was 50 episodes.
That's pretty decent.
Yeah, both seasons are 26.
It's
or 25.
not a standard, like, just one series run where it's
No.
like 12 episodes, but it's also not like 500 like a shonen.
Yeah, it's a healthy chunk. I don't like shows that are only. I don't like anime that are only 12 episodes long unless it's like
really good,
really really good, and it's meant to be 12 episodes, like Fully Cooley.
Yeah.
Looking at you, season 2 and 3, shaking my old man finger.
Yeah, I think like one of my favorites is FMA, Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah,
and Brotherhood specifically.
Is that why your Twitter handle is Full Metal?
It is exactly why.
Twitter.com
because that's. Oh, thanks for the plug, man.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I was a big fan of the original before. Oh yeah. You can also find Nick at Nick's under. Wait,
you fucked it up. You fucked it up.
Nick's under fire.
/Nick's under fire. NIX under fire. I hate you. It's not that hard. Yours has an underscore in there. It's all right.
Well,
anyway.
it messed me up because when you have under in your name, so I went to go say under, and I thought underscore, and then I panicked.
Nick's underscore?
And then you started yelling at me, and I'm like, oh, God. I'm sorry.
Well, the plug sucked. That's a bad plug. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But the Code Geass, for those of you that don't know or haven't watched it or have seen it, like pictures of it, and they're on people's top 10 lists, or like either loved or hated, because it's very divided from what I've gathered in the forums. People either love this show or they hate it because it's set in an alternate timeline. The first season is set in 2017, and the second season is set in 2018, which is kind of funny.
Yeah,
we're in 2019, and this show was animated in 2005 to 2006.
Always put your dates farther out, man. Like, otherwise you're just going to look silly.
Oh, I think because it's set, again, in an alternate timeline where it's called the Britannia Empire, Britain or whatever, has basically trying to take over the whole world, and they've taken over a good third of the entire world, with several big countries still left to be quote-unquote conquered. Anyway, it's set entirely in Japan, which prior to the beginning of this series has been conquered and renamed Area 11. So the Japanese are no longer Japanese; they're 11s, and it's all about this high schooler who is just he's a genius, basically starting a rebellion and trying to overthrow the Britain Empire. Except there's a couple of twists in there. I don't want to spoil anything. But it's actually a really good, well-animated show. The mechs are they're at the forefront because there's a lot of them in there. But they're an afterthought. It's more about political intrigue and characters backstabbing each other. And how is he going to start and maintain and complete this rebellion. And the first season is all about, it's all one arc, but season 2 starts a year later and just continues.
Time skip.
You know what I mean. But yeah, just like most anime that do it, this one actually does it quite well. And I've been having a lot of fun with it.
Oh, that's good.
A third of the way through season 2.
Well, and especially, when we got derailed because you yelled at me. What I was saying about Full Metal is that I believe the original series and Full Metal Brotherhood were somewhere around 50 to 60 episodes, and I think that's a pretty good length.
Yeah.
For something for a long spanning story where there's not a whole lot of room for filler. Like you have maybe 1 or 2 episodes,
a beach episode,
maybe 3,
or a school festival episode.
Not even that. Like with Full Metal, there's no beach episode, but there's an episode where they're having dinner at someone's house, or something.
Yeah,
like something silly like that. But yeah, as opposed to when you have like the 500.
The One
long
Pieces,
ones,
the Dragon Ball Z's,
where it's just like, well, how do we come up with this villain for the next 30 episodes that actually wasn't in the manga at all?
And stretch it out. The problem with anime and the problem with a lot of shows that try to stretch out because they don't know how long it's going to be.
Yeah.
They try to stretch out story arcs and character arcs.
And the real issue is that a lot of anime get the green light after maybe like a couple volumes of the manga are out.
And there's the whole...
And so they can't decide whether or not they want to... Well, they can decide whether or not they want to wait for it to finish because they don't want to finish because striking right now, when the iron is hot, is where the money is, and they want to get on that money. So they're instead gonna just start the show now, even though the manga isn't even halfway through yet, and then you've got kind of like this weird like weaving. Like that's the issue with the first Full Metal series is they had to make up an entirely different ending.
Yes, this all sounds very familiar. Looking at you, American Hollywood, because this happens all the time. It happens if this sounds familiar to most viewers, this is what happened to Game of Thrones. This is what happens. They were at season 4, season 5, and they're like, shit. What are we gonna do with all of these characters?
Yeah, this is. I had completely forgotten about this, but yeah, that was a huge thing that was going on when people started to realize at the end of near the end of the last season, it's like, oh, this is just anime. Yeah, is what's going on now.
It was a Gainax ending.
Yeah. And there's that Gintama. GIF that's going around for the scene.
Explaining it.
It's like these arrows where he's like literally saying, well, sometimes the manga will stop in the middle of it, and then the anime has to do like these like
like swirls around it,
curly cues around, to make sure it catches up at the right time.
Jumping through hoops and basically trying to stall for time. That's where filler episodes come in, especially. But anime, anime's crazy.
Fuck, if your name's Bleach, then you'll just have entire filler arcs.
Yeah.
They don't even give a shit. They'll just be like, whatever. Completely new subplot that is actually not a thing.
I'm glad I gave up on that show.
Oh, God, I wish I had sooner. Did I ever tell you why I dropped Bleach?
No.
So I was actually, hard up on Bleach. Not
Gross.
to the fact where I was like, Ichigo's my guy. Obviously I was more focused on Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, because they were happening at around the same time, right? Yeah.
And now my entire social media life is based around Full Metal Alchemist, and I have no way to escape it.
Whose fault is that?
It was mine. It's all right. It sounds good anyway. But so I had gotten through, I think, through. I don't even remember what they're called. Do you remember anything at all about Bleach?
About Bleach, I tried to purge as much as from my mind as I could.
Arrancars.
Yeah.
I got through what I think was like the middle of that arc.
Yeah.
And then just out of nowhere, they're like, yeah, we're going on hiatus for a little while. Like, okay. Well, back then, my DVR was set to record
Yeah.
that, but I only had it set to record new shows. And I don't know what happened. Maybe it like dropped down in the recording priority or something, or if the system wasn't registering them as new episodes.
Okay.
But like a year and a half went by, and I'm like, there's still not been a new episode of Bleach. What the hell?
Yeah.
And they just randomly, like in the middle of the night, I saw Bleach on. I'm like, yeah, I'll turn it on. And it's at the end of the arc that it had like taken a hiatus in. So a hiatus in. So I had missed the entire second half of the arc, and I'm like, well, fuck this shit. I'm not even going to watch it again.
You had spent an entire year and a half where you're like, I don't even care anymore. I can't see anything new. That sucks.
I was so angry.
Yeah, I completely understand. That's why I try not to get committed to any new anime. Just I try to only watch finished anime because I know they're finished. You know, they won't have anything where they start a new arc or whatever, or sequel series.
Well, and then, like,
except for Sword Art.
I think even, oh, God.
I watched the first 2 seasons and I was like, I see where this is going. And then now we talked about it.
I think it was last week where we mentioned hate watching, where
Yeah.
that's all I do is Sword Art. I got through half of the first season and I was like, wow, this is, like, it started with a pretty good premise. I mean, hell, there's a whole genre now,
Isekai.
devoted to it, and it's based off of shitty anime.
Yeah. We could be talking about anime,
and how bad it is,
and how
much it'll ruin your life.
Or we could talk about movies, because this is Nicknames Movies. So let's get into Nicknames Movies. Let's talk about movies. Let's name some.
Okay.
This week, we had a couple movies come out. One of them was Dark Phoenix.
Yes.
It's not X-Men Dark Phoenix.
No, just Dark Phoenix.
X-Men Origins Dark Phoenix. No.
X-Men The Last Stand Dark Phoenix Origins.
Very much so. And here's the thing, viewers, listeners, thanks for watching the YouTube video of audio.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's worse than The Last Stand.
Wow.
And
okay, that's pretty harsh.
You'll hear this take from Jeremy Johns, a very popular YouTuber, and I 100% agreed with him when I watched it, his review. But what he said was basically, at least X-Men The Last Stand tried to do a story. Like, they had the whole kid who has the power to cure mutants, and they have that whole arc.
There was some semblance of a narrative.
Yeah. Whereas Dark Phoenix was kind of shoehorned in because they didn't know what they were going to do after X-Men.
They're just like, hey, Dark Phoenix is popular, throw her in there.
Yeah, it's a popular arc. And that was, I assume, the same logic.
It'll print money.
Yeah. And notice how I said before how this movie doesn't have X-Men in the title because they don't own the property anymore, 20th Century Fox. But 2, because they were just done with this movie. Every single person involved in this movie, as far as I can tell, just gave up after they had finished rapping the first time. I assume like the CGI artists, the actors, for any of the reshoots, and you could tell there were reshoots because there are huge leaps in logic and storytelling, and the final scene I thought would have been like 2/3 of the way through the movie, but no, the scene you see in the trailer where they're fighting on the train, that's the climax.
I felt like that might be it.
And it's unfortunate because you have mutants stuck in a train doing as much as you could do in a train with mutant powers and all that. Oh, by the way, I found this out earlier. One of the characters that follows Magneto, I believe, totally new character created for the movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's got hair whips.
Oh, okay.
He's Sindel. But he looks like Slipknot from Suicide Squad.
Oh, nice.
And he gets killed in a bitch way.
Well, if you're...
Oh, by the way, spoilers.
Wow.
But all 5 of you who have seen the movie.
Can I just say, as bad as the, I guess a Cardinal movie said,
yeah,
quote unquote, as the showing of the climax in the trailer is, for X-Men movies, it is not abnormal. It
To
is,
show that
yeah,
climax?
it
Yeah.
is almost always happened.
It's a money shot, basically.
Apocalypse,
Yeah.
it happened. Days of Future Past happened with
What-
the
what
baseball
was-
stadium.
Oh, yeah.
First Class happened. They had shots of the missiles
Yeah.
coming down and Magneto stopping them.
Why would they do that? There's plenty of other action in the
It's
movie.
because the people who make trailers are not the people who write the movie.
That's the thing.
They're just trying to get butts in seats.
They need...
It's the same motherfucker who, and I know I've railed against this at some point, was the fucking Terminator Genesis trailer.
Yeah. And the
Or
same
it's-
thing with Terminator Dark Fate. I feel like they...
Yeah. What the fuck, man? Just
Yeah.
let it sit.
Let the spoiler... Because they know when they're editing the trailer, when they're cutting those trailers, that's probably a story beat that's actually important.
Yeah. Well, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Genesis would have still been a shit movie regardless, but at least it would have been a shit movie with an interesting twist if
Yeah.
you hadn't spoiled it in the fucking trailer.
Yeah. I mean, at least I would have gone, come on, a little bit louder.
Yeah.
Just because I was surprised. But
Along with everybody else in the theater, all
Yeah.
5 of them.
here's the thing. And I almost did this with Terminator Genesis. It's actually funny that you bring it up. I almost walked out of this movie.
Really?
Here, for listeners who don't know me personally, I don't walk out of movies. I never walk out of movies unless I have shitty 10-year-old kids in a rated R movie who shouldn't be there because their parents aren't there and they got dropped off and they're being little shits and I can't stand them talking behind me. I'll walk out and I'll go see the movie a different time. I did that with Are You Afraid of the Dark? I did that with Don't Speak? Don't Breathe. Thank you.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, because there were kids in there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame, man.
Yeah.
Because that's such a good movie.
It's such a good movie, and I had to see it twice because
Yeah,
fucking kids were
that
sitting
fucking
behind
sucks,
me.
man.
It's my fault for seeing it Friday night, but still,
Well, no, it's the parents taking that shit.
whether the
And
parents
that-
are there or are not there, it's shitty parents.
That's fucking crazy that you would breathe. What did they do? There's a specific scene in that movie that
Yeah.
I'm thinking of right now, and I'm sure you can tell which
the
one I'm
twist
thinking
of
out
the
of.
blind guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, kind of leading into that,
Okay.
down in the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. What the fuck did they do when that scene came up?
The second time, because I had left before
Yeah.
that scene the first time. The second time, there were no kids because I saw it.
Well,
in the
no,
movie,
I'm just
so.
wondering, legitimately,
Oh,
for
yeah,
those
yeah,
kids that were in there, what the hell did they do?
They probably laughed because they're little shits. I don't know.
That is bonkers.
I
to
hate
me.
kids.
Oh, man.
Put that on my tombstone.
Here lies Nick Simmons.
but
I hate kids.
I hate kids.
Oh,
Oh, weird statement to put on his
Weird.
tombstone.
I don't know why you went that way, but
Who chose that? No, but going back to what I was saying, I never walk out of movies. I only walk out of movies when I have shitty people when they take their fucking shoes off and
oh yeah,
they do that, or they're on their phone, like with their screen
Uh-huh.
completely lit, or I need to poop. If that's the case, then that's when I leave. But I don't walk out of movies when they're bad.
Right. Well, and it's like
But this movie was
there's something to be said for diving deep into the crap.
Yeah.
Like if
I
it's,
knew this was going to be a bad movie.
Yeah, you did. You took the hit.
Yeah, I even posted on my Instagram and my Twitter a picture of my ticket saying this is going to be for the podcast so I can talk about it with you to
Yeah.
kind of get everyone prepared for it. Although we're recording Saturday evening, so you're either seeing it or not. So here's my 2 cents. Don't even bother. If you're that excited for an X-Men movie,
I would just wait.
just wait or watch a different one.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Would you say it's so? You would probably say it's worse than Apocalypse.
it's on par with Apocalypse. Apocalypse at least tried a story as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
This one just feels disjointed. It's got 2 different stories. Because here's the thing: Jessica Chastain,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, she's the Phoenix part of the Phoenix Force, right?
No,
No. Oh
no.
Oh.
And I said spoilers, so if you haven't already been ruined by this movie with everything else in the marketing that you've seen, last chance. Spoiler. Okay, we're good. She is part of an alien race.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a Phoenix Force.
No. No, they're a
Well,
part of an alien race that uses the Phoenix Force to try to resurrect their species and destroy Earth.
Yeah, that's in line. In the comics, they're called the Phoenix
Okay, okay.
Force. They are using the power of the Phoenix, but they're called the Phoenix Force. So I guess they just say.
Hold on, let me look this up because
It's pretty funny that you have a Dark Phoenix ad right at the top
that's
there.
not that funny. It's the I don't know why they wouldn't play literally any other Marvel promo. Dark Phoenix.
Well, it's not Marvel.
Oh, internationally it's called X-Men Dark Phoenix. I think because, but in the United States, anyway, her Buck, and she's just. They really do make Jessica Chastain as ugly or as alien looking as possible.
Well, you got to make your villain unappealing, I guess.
They make her stronger than Apocalypse in this movie.
Yeah, that's standard for the
alien
power
species.
of the Phoenix.
Okay, so you know more about X-Men comics than I do. Well, just going based off of this conversation, they make they're a third force in the movie, whereas you have the X-Men at the beginning. They go and save some astronauts, and then Jean Grey basically absorbs this Parallax-looking purple motherfucker.
Oh, good pull, Parallax.
Yeah, it's thank you, Green Lantern.
Yeah,
or
which is a great movie.
Yeah, or it's just the third. It's literally the third in the trilogy of shitty main villains who are clouds.
Yeah,
along with Galactus and Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
Rise of the Silver Surfer. Absorbs it, and she's like, "Oh man, I'm going through puberty. I got veins in my face now."
She says that. She says she's going through puberty.
What? I'm sorry, what was that?
She goes through puberty.
I thought it was an analogy. I thought that's what this whole movie was. Puberty is very destructive.
It's like Mother.
Yeah. I said, like glowing veins in your face.
It's all Bible shit.
And you can like make people disintegrate. So,
oh.
Yeah. She kills a lot of people in this movie.
Yeah, she kills a lot of people in comics.
Here's the thing, though. When she starts killing a lot of people, everyone else gets angry because, spoiler, you're not ever going to see this.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
It took me and if I am, I'm going to go into it begrudgingly. I saw Apocalypse 2 years after the fact on a fucking plane. And I was like, I wish I could escape.
Yeah, you saw it for free. You didn't pay the studios.
I don't know. I paid for the plane flight. Which I guess that was their way of getting back at me.
Doing the scale hands. No. I forgot what I was going to say. When spoiler. And it actually got spoiled in one of the trailers for the movie. Mystique dies.
Oh, yeah. That was in the first shot.
Yeah, she gets impaled on some wood.
Okay. Yeah, I figured that was what was happening.
She got some wood.
Because after that, everybody's like,
Hey-o.
Well, then it cuts to her in the alleyway, and she's like, yeah, I'm not giving you that one.
High five me.
She's like, why did you make me do that?
Yeah. Yeah, and there was blood, and she was trying to get up.
Yeah.
So, and Mystique is only in like one scene in the trailer.
Well, Jennifer Lawrence got her paycheck, and she's like, peace, I'm out.
I'm out, yeah.
Marvel,
so is everyone else, though.
Marvel, you let me know.
Yeah.
Because I'll come back.
I'll come back as someone else. I'm a shapeshifter. I don't care. No, but yeah, she dies, and that makes Hank McCoy, played by Nicholas Hoult, who's a teenager for life, apparently.
Oh yeah, he's got the non-aging disease.
Yeah. That horrible disease.
It's like It's like when you're suffering from the Benjamin Button disease, but you're like stasis or something.
Yeah. Oh, there was a trailer for a better space movie before the movie, Ad Astra.
Oh yeah, that's with who? That's a pretty big name in that, isn't it?
Let me look it up.
Oh, who was
The
it?
director?
No.
Tommy Lee Jones?
Lead. Who's
Brad Pitt?
Brad Pitt, that's it.
I said Brad Pitt.
Did you?
I said Ad Astra starring Brad Pitt.
Oh,
yeah, it's got somebody famous in it.
All I heard was Ad Astra.
Yeah, Astra, if you know what I mean. Yep. Total silence.
Yeah, I'm sandbagging everything you're throwing out there.
I'm not cutting that silence out. But yeah, basically, Dark Phoenix, kills people, makes people angry, makes sense in the story. Okay.
Yeah. But
you have Charles Xavier, who in X-Men: The Last Stand put up the barriers because Dark Phoenix was a separate personality. Basically.
Right.
She already had the Phoenix Force in her. In this movie, she did it because she killed her parents when she was a kid.
Okay.
And so there was trauma that he never wanted her to realize. So like he meets her after her parents get killed, her mom,
Mhm.
but her dad's supposed. Anyway, I'm gonna spoil this whole fucking movie because I'm so pissed. But she finds out after because the Phoenix Force makes her brain super smart,
Okay.
IR smart.
Yeah.
And everyone realizes that Charles Xavier is a total douche for not telling this kid that her parents are dead or that her dad is alive.
Right.
And so he just basically did it because he's a shitty teacher and is not qualified at all to be a professor if he's just blocking out trauma. He's
Okay.
going to do that for like a kid
Everyone.
who stubs his toe. Stubs his toe.
Toe.
His toe, sorry. My British 15-year-old girl is coming out. But anytime something like that happens, he's just going to put up like mind walls in that kid's head just to like forget about it, basically.
Yeah.
It's stupid. It's really dumb.
Yeah.
There's no point
well-
to doing any of that.
And to be frank, I don't remember everything about the Phoenix saga in the comics. And I obviously read them way after the fact. I was not alive when they came out.
No, they came out in like the late 80s.
Yeah.
Chris Claremont. Hold on.
But I will say that there are a lot of things in comics, just to play devil's advocate here. Comics are fucking dumb, man.
They are. They get really weird.
Do you know that there is a story in the Spider-Mans
Spider-Man.
where
Chris Claremont and John Byrne. Sorry.
Spider-Man, the radioactive spider blood that's in him
Yeah, because he got bit by the spider.
actually carries with it some form of like highly destructive cancer, which transmits over to Mary Jane via semen, and this is real.
Oh, yeah.
This is real. You can look it up. So
Wasn't this? I think this was a. Who wrote Sin City? Help me out. Frank Miller.
Frank Miller.
I think this was a Frank Miller
What?
storyline. Hold on. Let me look up Spider Semen.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, it's your computer.
Spider-Man Semen. Am I gonna get the wrong results? Hold
Yeah,
on.
there you go. Radioactive sperm killed Mary Jane by giving her cancer. That's all you need to know about fucking comic books.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna get some weird ads. Hold on. Is it gonna tell me who wrote it?
Yeah, Reign. Spider-Man Reign was the series.
It looks like it's not the same art, obviously, but
I don't remember it being Frank Miller.
I'll look it up later. But yeah, okay, Spider-Man Reign. Anyway, yeah, kills her with radioactive sperm.
Yeah.
That sucks. Yes,
Yeah.
comics are weird.
Yeah.
So
To say the least.
to say the
So
least,
I could totally understand just from a narrative point of view why something like that would be frustrating. And I just wonder how much of it is them adhering to the source material.
I get
Granted,
Yeah.
we already know that these movies generally are bad because Apocalypse was bad.
Yeah. Written by the same person who wrote and directed this.
Yeah. So I'm sure, like, I believe you when you say, like, it's just not made well.
When they introduce, like, they make characters up when they have an entire library of.
Well, why
mutants to
bother?
use.
Why bother using someone like Dazzler in one scene and then, like, that's all she's ever going to be using?
Exactly. Hey, guess what? And they don't confirm it because she just shows up.
Yeah,
like,
she's
the
a
background.
light show, right?
No, but like there's a character in this movie when the teenagers have a party on the school campus
Yeah.
and the teachers are totally okay with it as long as they have cameras pointing at them. And there's a student who apparently has a mutant ability to throw around lights. I assume this
That's
is
his
Dazzler.
Dazzler. Yeah,
But she also has an amazing singing voice. That
yeah,
can
that's
predict-
Dazzler.
Okay, then
Yeah.
yeah, it was Dazzler. But she's.
That's what I was getting at. They use her for this like one throwaway scene, so it's like, oh yeah, we got her in there. But
I thought you were talking about a different X-Men movie.
no, I was talking about this one.
Oh, okay.
Because I knew I had read that this came in. This is how much I don't care about this movie.
Yeah.
As I read up on it.
It was just weird. I was like, I mean, that's a cool power for that one specific instance.
Dazzler is really fun, but you know, again, going back to the comics can be weird and dumb kind of dumb.
Yeah,
but she's fun. You know, she's a rock star that
not everybody is going to be Magneto.
that she basically she can
Cyclops.
project light through like sound waves, and then she chooses to use singing to do that.
Yeah, I mean it's not the worst power. There's the kid from X-Men 2 that can blink and change the channel.
There was actually there was actually a recent run of Dazzler. I think it was only like 6 issues. It might have been longer, but where they kind of touched on a little bit. They I know you already said you're not like huge into comics, but there is a moment where the other quote unquote mutants, not really mutants, but they're called the Inhumans.
Oh yeah, the ones on the moon
with that shitty TV show. Yeah. The Inhumans have like this kind of like distrust of mutants and back and forth. So there's like they're basically the same but not, and so there's kind of like this like little civil war brewing. And,
okay.
And then with this Dazzler run, they had mutants or getting accosted by people in the street, at Dazzler's show, and so it's kind of a not a high stakes run, but it was interesting
because
what they
Dazzler.
did. Yeah,
she can't.
Well, she did. She did get powered up by Galactus at one point. I don't remember what it was, but because he used
what?
Yeah, he. Oh, fuck, I can't. I'm gonna butcher this, and it's really dumb. But at one point, he uses some sort of cosmic power and transfers it into Dazzler.
He fucks her.
No, he not like that. But then she's like ridiculously powerful. But she's also Dazzler.
Loud,
yeah. And then she can like create sound waves into shapes too if she focuses enough, and she can store it for later. I don't know.
But comics are their powers always change. Comic books are weird. Comic book movies never, outside of course the Marvel movies and like 1 maybe 2 DC movies, they actually try. They have fun with it.
Yeah.
They know that comic books in general are weird premises for movies. Premises. But it's all about how much fun you can have with it and how much love for the actual source material you have for it.
And from what I'm gathering from Dark Phoenix, there really isn't a whole lot of love.
No, it was a cash grab, and this movie was supposed to come out like over a year ago.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but the whole thing with New Mutants too. Yeah. It was just kind of like all over the place, and with the X-Men property.
And the only reason
that's gotten shelved and rewritten just recently until I think 2021, right?
I believe they pushed it to February again. Let me look it up. I know because it was like right after Infinity War or something around that time.
And they released a trailer of New Mutants too, but then they went back and do reshoots and rewrites.
And they said it's like basically a different movie.
Yeah. Well, they were going for a horror aspect.
And it looked cool. The trailer looked interesting enough because it's an X-Men movie, or not quote unquote X-Men movie. Marvel Mutants.
Yeah.
And you can have fun with that if you do it right.
Not phone it in.
April 3rd, 2020.
Okay. So not 2021, but a little ways away.
Yeah.
And I wonder what state we're gonna get that in.
And here's the thing. I always thought that they were just gonna just tuck it directly into Disney
like a
Plus.
streaming. Yeah.
Well, they could.
Or Hulu, because
Hulu,
now they
do that with
primarily own Hulu now.
Runaways and is Cloak and Dagger Hulu?
Yeah. Yes.
I know The Gifted is, which got canceled. I know The Runaways did, and that got canceled. And
Let's
I know
see.
Cloak and Dagger is still going on, I think.
Is it?
Swamp Thing is DC Universe.
Oh yeah, that got canceled after one episode, boy.
They premiered one episode. So the whole I was going to bring this up just shortly because I thought that news was hilarious. I read the headline.
That is a clusterfuck.
Yeah, James Wan is pissed.
I would be too, man. You get someone on there like James Wan
who did Aquaman.
Yeah, and from everything I haven't sat down and watched it yet, but everything I'm hearing from Swamp Thing is that it's great.
Yeah. I haven't watched it yet. I haven't subscribed to the service. I'm subscribed to Netflix, Hulu, and I'm getting rid of Amazon Prime.
Well, I went through Titans season 1 on DC streaming.
Was that any good? I
No,
watched the
it
first
wasn't. And I feel like I'm the only one that didn't like it.
It's weird because I watched the first episode. I was like, why would anyone want to watch any more of this? Bad.
I was writing for reviews for it at the time, so that's why I was watching
Doom
it.
Patrol is apparently really good too.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one either. The episode in Titans with Doom Patrol is one of the better ones of the season.
Okay.
But yeah, every time I kind of looked around to see what everybody else's thoughts on it, after giving it my watch, it was like mostly positive, and it is just so full of stilted acting and horrible direction, and the plot goes absolutely nowhere. It ends on such a huge cliffhanger, massive cliffhanger. One of the good guys is a villain now.
Oh,
and they are in the middle of the final fight.
Wow. I almost want to look it up just to see.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's.
And I think I remember reading that it was supposed to go on a little longer. It was supposed to be another episode or two, and they shortened it. But yeah, man, that's one of the worst cases of blue balls I've ever had from a TV show.
I looked up the good one instead.
Oh yeah, Teen Titans.
Yeah, my fault. Because most of them aren't teens; they're in their 30s.
Yeah, and oh man, the acting is so bad. The CG is bad too. There's a scene where you can find this because I looked it up afterwards to show my wife how laughable it was. There's a scene where Dick Grayson, Robin, for those who don't know, is running away from Wayne Manor because Bruce Wayne is rich, I guess. Because at that point he doesn't know he's Batman, so he just doesn't want to be in a rich house. I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah. But he's an acrobat, because he was raised in a circus.
Yeah.
So
doing flips.
Well, he jumps out a window and
why not just leave out the front door?
Grabs onto a tree branch, and he's doing all this flippy shit down to the ground.
Okay.
And it's all CG, and it's fucking laughable. It's
I
awful.
need to look this up. I know we're talking about other stuff that's. No, I don't care anymore.
We're off the rails.
We are. That's what we do.
Yeah, if you just type in Titans, Dick Grayson, Bruce Banner, or Wayne Manor, or something like that.
Bruce Banner. Titans, Dick Grayson.
Choreography is also pretty bad too.
Is it?
Uh-huh.
It's kung fu, but it's made by 12-year-olds.
It's barely kung fu. It's I'll kind of throw you around here, you throw me around there, but you can't really see anything because it's so shaky anyway.
Huh.
Yeah, that's it.
Which one? This one?
That top one, I think.
The top one?
Yeah.
Okay, I have it muted, but we're gonna watch it. Cinematography-wise, it's not the worst, but that's when you throw a lot of money at somebody who has, a film still.
Well, this is how they launched. This is how they launched the service too. So they wanted at least some money behind it.
Yeah.
Apparently, that all went elsewhere because it didn't go to the CG budget. It didn't go to the acting budget.
I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit.
Yeah. You'll know it, or I'll tell you.
I assume that's the Detective Morales.
Keep going. A little farther. Oh! Go back. That. Right there.
I'll cut a little bit of this part out, but I gotta see the.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Why not just leave out the front door?
Well, because they'd see him. They'd see him go. Oh God, I'm so excited.
Hold on.
Do it, you coward! Jump!
You're an acrobat. You can make it.
Do a flip.
Okay, you didn't do a. Oh
yeah!
My God!
Fucking Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone right there.
That is so bad. Why? Just get a real kid.
Oh yeah.
That could have all been done practical.
No, kids can't do
they
flips.
They didn't have a tree close enough, so they had to CG a tree 50, 100,000 feet away. I fucked up. I don't know the English language, but that's bad.
Yeah, and that's at the beginning, man. they have like this is before Beast Boy is like doing full on transformations like regularly, and yeah, that's oh boy, there is nothing of consequence that actually happens.
So don't even bother. Don't recommend watching the show.
Oh God, no. I mean, I guess if you're like really curious, I can't even recommend hate watching this, man. Like,
Really?
It's just like mediocre and like the worst thing you can be, I think, is like nothing, just like a wet, bland bowl of oatmeal.
Yeah.
It's like you do
Season 2 though.
Yeah.
That
Well,
one's
that's
getting
what
season 2.
that's
This one thing isn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel so on the outs when I'm watching that show, or when
Yeah.
I was watching that show, because everybody else was like, "Oh yeah, 8 out of 10." You know, like it wasn't the best, but you know, it was pretty good. I think a lot of people were giving them a little leeway because it's their first, you know, foray into streaming. It's their first like, well, and actually, it wasn't their first foray into streaming
For DC.
for Warner Brothers.
Or yeah.
Uh,
Because I was gonna say there's better DC shows to watch.
Oh yeah, well, and then he did do Young Justice season 3 on there,
Yeah.
and that's A+.
Really?
Like but Young Justice was good to begin with, and they brought back the same writers and
Same voice actors.
yeah,
and everything.
they
Because there's love and passion.
they
behind
picked up where the continuity left off in season 2. You know, that was such like a dream project for everyone that was on it, and they fought hard for so long to get
Yeah.
it made. Whereas I kind of feel like this, like pessimistic indifference with Titans,
it. Right.
where I mean, you could see in the first trailers for the show where fuck Batman, and like, oh, it's gonna be great, and then they don't even lean into that. You know, like that was the interesting thing that was quote unquote interesting.
Yeah.
Thing that people were picking up on from that trailer is like, oh, I guess they're going like full on gritty, and it's going to be super violent and
Yeah.
all this crazy. And it is violent. There is some like legitimately like, ooh, I don't know about that.
Yeah. From what I read, the Batman stuff is actually
Yeah.
pretty intense.
And they don't lean into that. I would have rather had like this super try hard, like edgy thing
Like
than
flexible.
this like
penis.
kind of fake, this faux thing.
Yeah,
You know, that
it's-
it's like tries to tread water on both sides.
Here's what you're describing. You're describing a CW.
Yeah, it is exactly a CW show.
Yeah, but it's not
but
on
it's
CW.
it's violent, and they can say the word fuck,
Yeah.
which they do a lot.
Yeah. So it's a CW show, but like they can actually get away with cursing and gore and
Yeah,
violence.
yeah.
It's what I want in Riverdale. And what I
Oh,
want
well,
in,
if you want that, go watch The Society.
Oh, the Society?
Yeah, which I railed against the other
It's-
week too.
It's pretty people being able to act out fantasy roles for all the people who would never get cast playing
Yeah.
Robin or Beast Boy or Starfire or anything.
It's
like
not so much a fantasy role for the people in the society, but it is basically like kind of it's Riverdale, but you can
that.
say
I
the
have
word
enough
fuck.
with Riverdale.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Man, I tried Riverdale.
You tried?
Yeah,
Here's the thing.
I couldn't do
Here's
it.
the thing. And I'm going to go off on a little tangent about Riverdale here. All right, so season 3 just ended. Rest in peace, Luke Perry.
Yes, yeah,
One of
very
the
sad.
best and only normal characters in that entire show. And that's because he has to play a foil to, I think it's KJ Appa, who plays Archie. I just forgot the main character's
Yeah,
name.
I don't know, but I'll trust you.
KJ Appa, who's a New Zealand actor.
Oh,
But he pulls off an American accent fantastically. Anyway,
did he bring a kiwi with him?
yeah.
Oh,
And 100 sheep.
oh, okay.
New
Kiwi's
Zealand.
Australia, right?
What?
Where's kiwi? Is that a New Zealand thing?
Q?
Kiwi, like the
Kiwi?
little bird.
That's New Zealand, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And
Okay.
Australia, I assume.
All right.
They're
They're
close
around.
together. We're losing all of our, our South Pacific listeners. Well, great. Because they hate each other. Australians and people from New Zealand, New Zealanders.
I wasn't aware that this was a thing.
Yeah, it's very much a hatred amongst the two nations.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
let's just
Let's
get
just
away
move
from
on.
that.
Anyway, Riverdale. Here's the thing. Riverdale, you have to watch with someone else, and you have to make fun of it. Just like every
yeah,
other CW show, you have to be like, what the fuck are they thinking? Because
Yeah.
the logic that people make to move the plot forward is so ridiculous. It's just like, oh, I love this character, but also there's a murderer going around, so we should probably solve that mystery.
No.
Yeah. It's very ridiculous, but
I didn't even get that far, man. I think
This-
I got into episode 3.
this past season has cults. It has hook-handed murderers who are the father. One of them is the father of one of the main characters. The other one, main characters are dying left and right. Side characters, not Moose, but the chick that always hangs out with Moose in the comics, she got nailed to a wall.
Ouch.
Yeah, whoopsie.
Bummer.
It gets really graphic, and then they don't really take it in. It's a lot like how you're describing Titans. They can only do so much, but they actually get away with saying fuck and all that stuff.
Does it end on a huge cliffhanger in which
Every
nothing
season.
is resolved?
Every season?
Okay, then
Actually,
yeah.
every episode.
Yeah.
So it's actually pretty engaging, and I've hooked myself into a show that I hate watch, but also love watch because
You love it. You love to hate it.
it's because there are shows that are like, I'm not a violent person. I just want to punch this woman in the face because.
Oh wow!
because,
You should
hear me out,
should
hear me
adjust that statement.
Hear-
I think.
Hear me out. These characters, because they hit their kids, they are just like, hey, here's the thing. I joined a cult, so I used my daughter's entire college fund thing to donate to this cult and all this kind of stuff. You got Chad Michael Murray in there for some reason as the cult leader, and he's aged well. This is the Chad Michael Murray podcast where I go into how much Chad Michael Murray has aged well. 2019 edition. But anyway, it's such a weird show. I totally understand you dropping off of it. It's
Yeah. Well, I
live in
got
a better world.
one. I was 50% of the way there, where I was watching it with someone else. However, they were not making fun of it.
They were into it.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say they were into it, but they were not.
Was it your wife?
Yes.
I'll tell Casey how wrong she is
Um.
to not make fun of it.
Well, and here's my thing about my wife. I love her. She's great. She
Don't
has
do that when I
she has gone on record to say that the way she likes media to be is where there is absolutely no conflict. She does not like conflict.
Does she know how
Which I
stories
think
work?
I think she's on record as saying this. I don't think that's what she actually believes. I think she just gets really invested in
Right.
the narrative. So, like when we're watching Black Panther, and she's worried that T'Challa is gonna get fucking killed by Killmonger,
Yeah.
and we're in the theater, and she's like, "I don't want him to die." Like that takes a toll on someone. Like, you can only do that so much.
Well, how do you think the story's going to move forward, honey? We need to get her on the podcast just so she can explain her taste in
Yeah.
movies. Just,
Um,
I don't want to end a marriage. I just want to figure it out because eventually we're gonna watch a movie and she's just gonna be like screaming at the screen. Poor Casey.
She goes through a lot. She gets very attached to characters very quickly.
Yeah.
And I've forgotten where I was going with this before I derailed.
I'm sorry.
Oh, with Riverdale.
Yeah.
So she wasn't making fun of it. She was just kind of like, mindlessly enjoying it.
Right.
She like she knows it's not great, but whatever. Well, I also couldn't handle Jughead's narration because
the film noir
narration. Well, there's a difference, I think, between film noir narration and what this was doing. Because film noir narration, I keep wanting to say narration, which is like it's like a mixture
I
between
totally understand.
noir and narration.
Damn French.
The difference between the
language.
two is noir. It's like almost kind of a addition to the character.
Right.
They're not so much. This is the plot focus, which sometimes it does, kind of outline what's happening. But a lot of it is like, how is this character reacting to what's going on?
It's exposition when they could just be saying it.
Well,
I mean,
it's like an internal
it's a narrative device.
It's an internal monologue, like you would get from a book.
Yeah.
Action happens, character comments on it. I walked into the crime scene. It's a mess. Like, not any messier than my house. Whatever.
Something
now
like
you know
that,
that
yeah.
the character is messy
Yeah,
or whatever. Something like that. With the Jughead narration, it's like this. There is a killer in town. What will we do?
And it's cryptic.
Cut to black.
Yeah, it's cryptic. Not to. it's mainly made to sound like, oh, I just want to sound cool. What would a cool person
You
say?
know what it reminds me of actually is, I don't know if you are familiar enough to remember this, but with Desperate Housewives.
I know of the show.
But how do you remember how it would open?
No, I just know the Apple thing is important.
I hope I'm remembering this correctly. If anyone wants to call me on it, they can.
Ooh,
but
I'm a
with-
fan of Desperate Housewives.
I'm not,
Sucks.
which is why I'm like putting that disclaimer out there.
Nah.
But I'm pretty sure it would have like an opening narration of like, this is kind of what we're going to be dealing with this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Well, now, wait a minute.
Like people say,
It's Sex in the City, but set in
oh
suburbia.
yeah, exactly. Sex in the City is actually Ace, like an Ace comparison.
Also Scrubs.
Well, yeah, that's for comedic effect though.
Is it really? Because a lot of old people and crippled people die in that show.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying it's
It's
there's
set in a hospital.
there's not like deep moments in the show, but ostensibly
die in Sex
it's
and the
first
City.
and foremost they do die. I think
I don't know.
one of them gets cancer. They don't die though.
I don't know. I
She
never
goes
watched
into
it.
remission.
Number one fan of Sex and the
I've
City.
actually watched quite a good bit of Sex in the City, thanks to my wife. People say that you shouldn't wake a sleeping dog. Well, I say like maybe the dog's bark is worse than its bite, or some shit like that.
I
Like,
guess.
like
that sounds about right.
It's so
You're such a Samantha.
it's so yeah. It's so like nothing, and
Yeah.
it's just like kind of a layer to get you prepped for the episode. But when I was watching Riverdale, it felt like it was through the entire thing,
Yeah.
and
It happens a lot,
I didn't like it. So I'm like it felt like it was insulting my intelligence.
Would you prefer like a beginning and end kind of bookend narration?
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, but he does it like after every commercial
It
break.
it
basically.
seems like after everything where like some sort of event happens,
Yeah.
like there's an argument in the locker room, or whatever.
Or
And
when
it's
it
like
changes
time for
scenes.
Jughead to talk about something.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I guess sure.
Yeah.
I can just watch the show, man. You don't need to write more dialogue for nothing.
Yeah, it's for the vision impaired,
Yeah.
for people who can't really see all the sexy teens.
Yeah.
But Riverdale,
Yeah. Which is a superhero show apparently, because
It's
it's evolved.
The main topic of the show was supposed to be, shitty superhero movies,
And then we
like,
just got into shitty
unnecessary
things.
reboots, and we talked about narration and Riverdale and Titans.
To be fair, Titans would fall into that category.
Oh, there's narration in that? I
No,
don't remember.
not narration.
Oh, just
Just shitty DC. Or sorry, did I say DC? I meant shitty superhero movies.
that's all right. I forgive you.
So anyway, getting back to, do we want to kind of finish up superheroes? Or
Yeah.
you?
Trying to go back, but it doesn't matter at this time.
What would you say?
We've got a few minutes left.
What would you say is your least favorite superhero movie?
Dark Phoenix is definitely in the top 10.
Okay.
There are obviously movies that haven't aged well,
Yeah.
but obviously there's some forgiveness that needs to be.
Yeah. Well, like.
Superman 4, which
Yeah.
I mean that's actually in the same league because there was a lot of production issues and a lot of writing issues and just it was a mess. But it's in that same pool of just there's so many things phoned in about this movie.
Yeah. That's what I'm gathering.
Yeah. It's like Batman with nipples. It's just unnecessary.
Dude, did you see that they're releasing 4K editions of all like of the original Batman?
The 4
movies?
Batman
not
movies.
the original ones, but yeah, those 4 ones,
Batman,
stemming from
Batman,
Tim Burton's
Robin,
Batman.
Yeah.
And it's funny reading that release statement, like, oh hey, by the way, all these movies are coming to 4K, because it's like you go down the list of all the pictures of each movie, and the reactions to each one get progressively more laughable.
Oh yeah, because they just get more and more ridiculous.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, that was back in the day when they didn't have a standard for a good movie that was a superhero movie. They just had superhero movies that were
Right.
either good or bad.
Well, and I was going to say this earlier too, when we were talking about adherence to the like established canon or established lore of comics. We didn't even get the benefit of having these comic stories transferred to film back in the day when it first started. You had people coming up with their own original Batman stories. Those four Batman movies have Batman. They have Robin in one of them, or
doing
two
their own
of them,
stories.
they have the villains in there, but they're not like
Based off an arc.
following the general line. I think Joe Chill, which is depending on which universe you're talking about, is Joker's
like
name.
alias.
Yeah, no, his name. I think that's in the first Batman.
Yeah, but
It's
it was
been
different.
forever since I've seen it.
The first Batman, it is Joker.
Yeah,
Who kills his parents. But he was Joe Napier.
Oh yeah, okay.
Or Jack Napier, sorry.
So no, never mind.
And then Joe Chill was, I think, in every other version. Like literally, Batman Begins, like the Nolan trilogy.
Yeah.
What have you.
Well, and then like you in the Nolan. I can't talk today. Apparently,
that's all right.
The Nolan trilogy.
It's only a podcast.
Christopher Nolan didn't even want to do a Batman movie. He just wanted to like do kind of a crime thriller,
drama. Yeah.
To the point like where he didn't really even want to do Dark Knight Rises all that much. He was kind of done with it.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I'm contractually obligated. I started this out as a trilogy.
But here's the thing. Even him, like, let's say he 20% phoned it in for Dark Knight Rises. That movie, like, we're going to lose followers. That movie is a technical achievement.
Yeah. Well, it's still, like,
it's
comparatively to the really bad ones, it's still fine.
It's a decent movie.
Yeah.
There's obvious plot holes. There's leaps in logic and stuff like that. But it's filmed fantastically. I have more fun watching Dark Knight Rises as opposed to Dunkirk or Interstellar.
Right.
And that's that's Christopher Nolan doing things he enjoys doing.
Right. Yeah.
And projects that he like actively pursued. But that's just the skill of everyone involved in those movies.
Yeah, and like Dunkirk has its own achievements too, but I can tell you I probably enjoyed my dumb time more seeing Dark Knight Rises than I did watching Dunkirk. I mean, like, I can appreciate a good movie over like a kind of fine one.
Yeah.
But I walked out of Dark Knight Rises going like, well, that was dumb, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fine.
So let's wrap it up as we go into our required watch.
Yes.
What would you recommend? What's one piece of media you would recommend watching?
I'll go ahead and say if you have not given Harmon Quest a shot, or if you don't even know that it exists, give that a shot because it's a lot of fun. It's easy, like 30-minute episodes, 20 to 30 minutes. Really, really funny.
Yeah.
Especially if you like D&D.
It made me want to start a campaign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And where can people watch it?
I believe all of season 1 and season 2 are on Verve.
And you can have like a 7-day trial or a 30-day trial.
Yeah. I don't know.
In case
you could probably find one on another podcast that's sponsored.
Probably. That's but like off the top of your head, that's all that you can think of.
Yeah, I think it's and there might be. I think the first episode is up for free on YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
Or at least it was when it was under CISO. I don't know if Verve is the same, though. I don't know if they kept that upload.
It's worth looking into. It's called Harmon Quest.
Harmon Quest. HARMON Quest.
Gotcha. And
for you, what do you recommend, sir?
I mean,
Dark Phoenix.
I don't know. No. Don't get... And I think right now it's at like less than 50 million.
Oh, wow.
So far. We're recording as of Saturday evening after it's premiered.
I can't think of anyone that's actively excited to see it.
No, all over social media and everywhere, they're just like saying, it's
nah.
Yeah. It's currently the lowest rated on Rotten Tomatoes of the entire X-Men franchise.
Including original trilogy?
Yeah.
Damn, son.
Yeah. It's like half the score of Last Stand.
Wow.
So... my required watch. I don't want to do it every week. I don't want to say the show I've been like hooked on is the required watch. But if you're a fan of anime and you haven't seen it yet, Code Geass.
Yeah.
It's currently on Netflix. I think they just recently put it up. And if you're willing to wait, I don't know if I think it's the 21st. Neon Genesis Evangelion comes on Netflix.
To Netflix. Yeah, I have my my own qualms about that, but it is great.
I've never finished it.
Really?
I never finished the show. I watched like the first 4 or 5 episodes, and I never got
Wow.
into it.
Okay.
Like since it came out, and
That
I was
wow. That kind of blows my mind a little bit.
I know,
Did you?
yeah.
So just the? Did you even watch like End of Evangelion,
No,
like the
I haven't
movie
watched
or
any of
anything?
that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the movies are coming. I believe coming too
Yeah.
to Netflix.
I think End of Evangelion 1 and 2.
I don't know
I don't
if
think 3 is.
I don't know. No, not those are different. There was the original Neon Genesis show.
Yeah.
That ran, and then it ended, and that had its issues
People
that
turning into
people
orange
got
juice?
riled. Well, that's not part of the show, actually.
Was that the movie?
That's the movie.
Spoil the movie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There
Damn you,
was
Watch Mojo.
there was the show, and then after that there was not Rebirth. Or is it Rebirth? There
Probably
was like
Resurrection.
a adapted like smaller version of it. You know, like sometimes animes do those like
Yeah.
really
like Brotherhood to the original Full Metal. They cut in that they condense it and they get rid of
condensed. That's
stuff.
the word I'm looking for. They
Yeah.
like condense like an entire run of an anime into like a 30-minute to an hour long quote unquote movie.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah.
So there was that thing in the middle which is completely unnecessary. So I don't even know if they're putting that on Netflix. So don't watch that if it is,
Okay.
because it's completely useless. There's no point to watch it. So I would say watch the show, and then watch End of Evangelion,
Yeah.
and then you can watch the first movie of the new Neon Genesis. That is fine,
Okay.
and then don't watch anymore
Okay.
because they're all bad after.
I'll have to take your word for it whenever it does come out to Netflix, but it'll have a huge banner whenever it shows up on Netflix. But I recommend Code Geass. It's a lot of political intrigue. There's a lot of characters hiding secrets from each other, like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. That's my recommended watch. Black Mirror season 5 premiered on
Mhm.
Netflix just a couple of days ago. I've been hearing mixed reviews.
That's what I've been hearing too.
Uh,
And it's only 3 episodes, right?
3 episodes that are each like an hour and a half long.
Oh, I didn't realize they were that long.
Yeah, I think that kind
Well,
of
standard length is an hour, right?
an hour. Yeah. So I
Okay.
think they're trying to.
Can I just say I don't like this new feature where we're like, yeah, make the episodes an hour and a half long, but then cut the episode order down by half.
Yeah,
Fuck you! You're doing the same thing.
it's the same thing.
It's the
but
same thing, but now it's less well paced, and I have to spend an extra 30 minutes on a fucking
like
show.
forced cliffhangers and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Narrative devices that don't need to be shoehorned into the
Ugh.
show. I've been. Zach literally walked in on me watching the first episode of season 5, and it's awkward.
Yeah, it was a particularly
neighbors.
graphic scene.
Yeah, visually it looks good. The story for that episode has been kind of meh, but as far as I've seen, I've only seen 80% of the first episode. So,
Yeah.
Required watch.
Yeah,
Most people are gonna watch it anyway because it's Black Mirror. It's got
Another-
that pedigree.
Another required watch. I'll say the original Ghostbusters. Go watch that.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a good classic.
It's true, sir.
It's a good classic.
This
that we
man
can
has
watch.
no dick.
That's a good line. I love
I
that line.
love that fucking line so
Um,
much.
This has been Nicknames Movies, where the cinema love never stops. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel and follow us on patreon.com/nicknamesmovies. We'll see you next week. Bye. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Fuck! I said watching again.
Listening.
Because I did the outro one with the me and the thing, and I'm never doing that again because I looked horrible. Hey everyone, thanks for listening. This week is E3, and I know we don't mention it because it's a movie podcast, but we're actually big gamers.
Yeah,
aren't we,
well,
Zach?
I did mention Persona at the beginning.
Oh,
of
that's
this
true.
one. Yeah.
Well, fuck me then. I guess I'm wrong. I'm an idiot. Go
Oh
ahead.
no.
Go ahead with the promo.
You just have so many things on your plate anyway. You can't remember that I actively
I have
mentioned
nothing on my
Persona.
plate. I have nothing on my plate. No. So we are actually going to be doing a recap episode of the podcast where we talk about all the things on E3.
Yes.
And I think I'm going to call it Nicknames Games because the rhyme scheme works.
Hey, that. Oh, Oh no, I was thinking the acronym was going to be NAG, but it's
Nag?
not.
Nick About Games.
Yes,
Because that sounds like
yes.
Dick About Games.
Do it.
Nick About Games.
Yes, I
Not
want
Nick
that.
Names Games?
No, I want the acronym to be NAG.
All right, well, that's a really weird excuse to name it that.
Well,
but we'll
that's
do it.
how they do it in the movies.
So, we will be talking about all the press conferences like Microsoft, Bethesda, Devolver Digital, Ubisoft, Square Enix, and Nintendo. No Sony this year.
Yeah, very sad. But, hopefully that'll make for a better state of play at some point.
Hopefully. We'll have to wait and see. But until then, the video should actually be up on my YouTube channel, Nick's Under Fire, on, let's say Wednesday.
Wednesday?
We'll do Wednesday, the
Yeah,
day after.
that
because-
makes sense.
Yeah.
We'll be recording on Tuesday. So.
Yes. So look forward to that, and we hope to see you next week. Toodles.